Champion Andrew Hedrick, the Knoxville Regional Champion. Congratulations.
Thank you, Chip.
Got to be feeling amazing. Back-to-back regionals as well. I mean, is this what you were expecting coming into this weekend? Were you feeling confident with the Lugia once again, just 2 weeks removed from Orlando?
Well, I felt like Lugia was definitely a pretty good deck to bring, but I don't know. I didn't have my friends we have an open spot in our car, so I signed up on Monday, and I didn't have too much time to test. I kind of just pulled up with a similar list to what I did at Orlando.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And you stuck with the similar deck. Made a few changes, I noticed. We don't have the capturing aroma in there. There's no more wash energy. Those were kind of the standout things from your Orlando list. What led to those changes, and how did they aid you throughout the event? Having that extra Lugia V-Star maybe, or, maybe missing out on the wash energy somewhere.
So the wash energy I felt like was mostly useful against the Raikou Rayquaza Lost Zone deck. And I didn't think that deck would be as popular. I thought people might play Azul's Lost Zone deck, which is not as good against. And so I thought, people were telling me, Isaiah Bradner was telling me to put into speed energy into the deck. That card, it was okay. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't terrible either. So I thought that was a change I made because I didn't think the Raikou deck would be as popular.
Yeah, a good meta call for sure, and that's a big part of playing Pokemon, obviously, being able to identify the metagame. And when there's one card that's not going to be that good for the specific meta for a certain tournament, it makes sense to drop it from your list, which is what you did. We'll talk about those finals there. I have to say, if you envisioned yourself getting to the finals, I have to imagine it was not against an Eternatus VMAX. And you started 13-0 in this tournament, and Brandon was the player who cut that 13-0. I imagine you were going for the 15-0, right? Trying to go that undefeated if you could. Brandon cut that short. Tell us about those Swiss games, what happened, and then what went different for you here in the finals.
So I also played him round 9 of Swiss, day 1, and I did manage to beat him then. And then today, when I played against him, I didn't draw super well. Might have made some questionable decisions in game 2 of my Swiss game against him too, and then I got judged into a dead hand and wasn't able to do much there. And then in the finals, I definitely got lucky at a couple of situations, although I feel like I was able to get to read the wind a lot, which that's really good in this matchup when they have you ability locked.
Right, because they're not putting on the most pressure with the wheezing, right? It's annoying for you to deal with, but it's only doing 40 to 80 damage a turn, right? So you have time to read the wind if you need to, which is what you ended up doing. Now, I do have to ask about the end of game 1 there. You had a tough decision with 2 prizes left for both you and your opponent. Your opponent takes a knockout. You have a decision. You have the Eviltal with the energies on it, or you could promote a Ranguru that turn. You didn't have the win in hand just yet, but you chose to promote the Eviltal, and you see that top deck as the Aurora energy to give you the boss KO for the win. What was going through your mind in that moment? Because you were obviously debating whether or not Eviltal was even the right thing to send up.
So there was a lot of things going on. I still don't know if it was the right decision, but
obviously it works out, right?
I don't think I could send up their Ranguru because I only had a total of 2 energy left. So if he just started to pass when I had a Ranguru active, I would just instantly deck out. I could have sent up Archeops because Archeops has 1 retreat and then tried to wait to draw the boss, but that also gives him more time. So I wasn't entirely sure. I knew I had the Aurora not at the bottom of the deck. I had a boss not at the bottom of the deck. And I would have a couple turns because Weezing can't kill it immediately and he had nothing else on his board. So I was thinking I have 2 turns to try to draw a boss or an Aurora, or if I draw another draw supporter that turn, I could draw some cards. So I was just kind of weighing the options, and I decided I'll see what I can get off the next couple cards in the top end. It came off the first one.
I mean, hey, we take it, right? Sometimes you just draw that one card you need, and it works out for you in game 1. Game 2, you see your opponent discard an Eternatus early on, and then later in the game, plays Ultra Ball, looks through the deck, drops the head. Do you know right then that 2 Eternatus are prized?
I mean, I assumed he would not have failed his Ultra Ball if he didn't have some. I didn't know if he played 2 or 3 Eternatus, but I assumed they were all the ones he had left were in the prize. He also discarded one earlier in the game. So at that point, that turn was a little bit scary because if he had hit everything he needed, he could have actually killed my Lugia, my only Lugia V. But he would have needed Switch, Dark Patch, Eternatus VMAX, another energy. He needed a lot that turn. But as soon as he did that, I knew I was in a pretty good spot. So I was happy it worked out.
And you find yourself being a regional champion, one of very few people to ever win multiple regionals in a season. Of course, Piper's already done it this year, but also even a shorter list of people who have won back-to-back regional championships. You join players like Caleb Gettimer, Jimmy Pendarvis in that accolade. What does that mean to you?
I mean, it feels really good, and it's really special because, that's obviously a really tough thing to do. And I don't know. I'm pretty happy with the result.
I would imagine so. And congratulations to you, Andrew. And that is, this stat comes from Stefan Ivanov. I noticed that Lugia V-Star won all 3 major events happening this weekend. Of course, here in Knoxville, over in Bochum, Germany, and also the Champions League in Expanded over in Japan, which is pretty wild to see. So Andrew, before we get out of here, one last thing we got to do. We've been doing it all weekend for all of our winners, and I hope it's going to be the best one this weekend, closing it out. We've had everyone, since we're here in the South in Tennessee, give us their best yeehaw. Could you give us one good yeehaw to send us off?
Yeehaw!
There we go. A yeehaw from a champion. Congratulations once again, Andrew. We're going to be right back to close out the show, so don't go anywhere. Stick around. We'll be back soon.